Hello everybody, welcome back. So I'm going to try and fit as much into this video as possible, be really quick, and we're going to focus on a few things, some other altcoins such as BNB, SXP, as well as XRP and Bitcoin, and also just have a quick look at some of the traditional markets which are being wrecked at the moment. And because they're being wrecked, I expect crypto will be wrecked. So we're at a crucial moment, I suppose, in traditional markets. And in fact, I'd probably say that, you know, when the US market opens in just under an hour, you'll probably know more about it than me, because it'll probably coincide with pretty much after you've watched this video, more likely. So realistically, I probably should have waited to make the video. Just I'm extremely busy. That said, let's move on. Let's have a look at what's going on. So Bitcoin, brief overview. If you've not watched this channel before, if you want to know a bit more about what's actually going on, we got rejected from this upwards level of support and resistance. This goes back all the way to 2017. No one really talks about this. I'm sure there must be other people. You'll have to let me know if somebody else is speaking about it. But it doesn't appear that I've seen anyone refer to this at all. But this is the main deal, and this is going to be a trend line that's going to be significant for a long period of time for Bitcoin, because it's upwards facing, and we do expect Bitcoin to basically go up over time. So this is going to go up with it. So rejection, support, rejection, support, support, rejection, and rejection. And then this last time we were rejected, we're having a continuation all the way down. So this is where we got rejected just today, from the 10,500 area, the blue box area, roughly 10,500, and we're plummeting now all the way down to what I would imagine be the 200 EMA, bringing us to around about 9,670. If that breaks down, then there is this also, which is a downtrending level of what I would hope to be support, has previously been resistance, all the way from the parabolic top. So we rejection there, and rejection there, and when we broke out of it, it was impressive. It was an impressive move, so that could hopefully offer up some form of support to us, but I don't know as it will. We look at the MACD and the RSI; these are getting very low. So I would expect that the next big dump that we have should have a decent buyback on it. It depends how far that goes. If it only goes to this level or this level, then yeah, buyback would be decent opportunity, because it could offer a trend reversal. You'd be trying to catch a knife, and I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice, but you would essentially be trying to catch a knife on this one here. If that does break down, obviously this whole area will fill the CME gap, and if this does break down from here, then it would be a free fall, and I would be thinking that it would be ending up in the 7,000s. Maybe 7,700 or something along those lines, because that's where we kind of broke out around these areas here. All of this, you know, so prior to the golden cross, that would be. So we're getting negative crosses, negative slopes across the boards. We've got 4-hourly death cross on Bitcoin over here. You could argue that might have already played out, but it's not looking good. There's no significant bounces, and we're essentially making lower lows in a way. So the next cross will be this 12-hour, and that will be complete. If we carry on this way, you should never really map any moving average out in this respect, in this fashion. But if we were to be hanging around at this level, the cross would take place. What would that be, on the 13th of September? But that's not really how you're supposed to do it. But that's just a rough idea of what's going on. The price action would be crazy by then. It would probably have gone a lot further down, and the cross could have even increased in its velocity. But that's just a 12-hourly. We really just want to avoid one taking place on the daily. And so far, you know, that's a little way off. So what else have we got to go by? We'll get rid of that silly little thing there. That is pretty much it for Bitcoin. We're following these traditional markets. Nasdaq down, bouncing on the green 50 exponential. That's reassuring for the moment, but a huge sell-off on crude oil often impacts these major indices. So if oil keeps falling, and this has been a big fall so far, and I think there's probably more to it than this. So we're only down 4.5% at the moment. We were down about 5.5% in a single day. For oil is a big deal. If this continues to go down, we don't have anything to say that this is going to go up at this point. This looks bad on the MACD. The moving averages don't look great. It looks like oil will go down. If oil goes down, it brings down indices, definitely. So the Nasdaq looking like it's having a bit of an anemic bounce, but it's technically not opened yet, nor has the S&P, both of which are correcting, you could say. Decent corrections. Hopefully we will bounce from these levels. If we break down from these levels, it'll be nasty and it'll take Bitcoin down with it. So let's have a real quick look at some of these other altcoins. So now that hopefully, like I said, I'm trying to rush this video out, but hopefully you'll understand that there's a bigger picture here, and the bigger picture is it will appear that something's going on in the major financial markets right now, that could offer a big drop. So Bitcoin's already looking dicey around that 10,000 area where we are right now. If that breaks down, that's only a psychological support. Psychological supports, once they're broken, it changes the psychology into way more fearful than it was prior to that. So falling down into those lower numbers, into the 9,000s, maybe into 8,000s and 7,000s. I don't know how fast that this would transpire. We've got to do it level by level. So my next level for Bitcoin is going to be around about those levels that we spoke about on the on these bounces on the 200 exponential and on this trend line here. So we're talking about 9,500 realistically, maybe a bit further down. The last level of support is going to be on this 242, which is around about 9,100-ish. But all these areas should get bought back up pretty quick, I would imagine, just because the RSI is so low. Anyway, let's move on to BNB. Very strong indeed, actually, in the face of all of this. So huge dump from top to bottom there, and this is only looking on a daily here. So this one candle body dumped 21% in a day, and then a few days later 29%. Massive drop there, and then it bounced 29%. Oh, no, it didn't. I'm talking about this wick here is what I want to measure. Didn't bounce 29%, but it did bounce 26%. Absolutely, really impressive for BNB. So if we do dump hard on across the board, BNB was likely to become one of my larger holdings. In fact, the only coins that I'm referencing on this are the coins that I'm willing to hold over this when this dump happens. This is where I'm going to be. These are the coins I'm interested in. So BNB looking quite strong, and maybe there's manipulation in that. It is Binance after all. They wield a lot of power. They would not want to see their token die, so I would expect that any significant drop on this would likely see a decent recovery. The MACD actually doesn't look all that bad. It looks a bit weird, like as in something strange has happened here. So I'm not saying that this is organic or not, but it's not. It's not like Bitcoin's, which is basically just divergence after divergence, but it's not in a good place. So yeah, downside would bring us down to basically these wicks where we've been already, maybe a little higher than that, but definitely a good buyback opportunity on this one when the drop happens. And the drop, what we are looking at, we're looking at major indices. And we're looking at Bitcoin. We're not really working out price targets for these alts, because alts can completely get crippled in this. So it's not really appropriate for me to really say that I'll be looking to buy at this level, and this level. But the areas of interest for me would be the previous wick, so basically $18. If that breaks down, then I would be looking to maybe get in around about this level, around about $15 to $16. And I know that sounds ridiculous. I'm anticipating something which is way off at the moment. Major indices are bouncing from this correction, but I have to plan for the worst in many ways, and I can stagger some of my buy orders. Okay, so that's basically what I'll be looking to do. So buy orders maybe around here, and maybe buy orders a little bit further down around 15.5. XRP should be bouncing from here. It doesn't look like it wants to. In fact, it doesn't look like it wants to at all. This is the level where I said around about 23 cent where it should have found a bounce. Basically, because we're on this 200 exponential right now, it's not offering us anything. It's not offering us anything at all. And in fact, it looks like it just wants to fall out of the sky and completely die. And if it does, I would expect it to find a bounce, or at least a base around these levels, around 19.5 to 20 cent. That could and probably will happen now from what I'm looking at, unless of course SPY and oil and Nasdaq actually find this bounce. Crypto is going to feel the pain of traditional markets once again. So similar to that in the way that we saw it prior to that March crash. We saw everything kind of trickling down. That's basically what's happening now, and I'm not saying that there is going to be a crash, but there could be a crash, and if there is a crash, this is the sort of thing that we'd see prior to a crash. Alright, so just it's worth being very careful about what you're doing. I do have shorts running, but I should say I'm not shorting any crypto at all at the moment. I'm shorting oil, SPY, Nasdaq, the pound versus dollar, and also I'm shorting the FTSE. So I'm all in shorts for traditional markets and not for crypto at the moment. Crypto, I'm flat across the board more or less, and I'm looking to buy back in on spot. Not really go long, maybe go long on XRP, but for me I think XRP is very risky at these dicey levels, and I'll be looking to maybe only really go back into XRP on a long when I've got a bit more of a handle, as in, has the trend reversed? Is it going back up again, or has there been such a catastrophic collapse that actually, the only way really is up at this point, like in March? So actually XRP is not looking very good at the moment. I would have expected a bounce from here, but given the rest of the market looks dicey, the bounce isn't going to take place here, which means that the next drop down will be pretty big. And we'll just measure that one out from where I think it is going to go down to around about 20 to 19.5. So we've got another 16 or so % drop ahead of us in my mind, and that's what I think is likely to happen. So it could be quite nasty with XRP there. But again, even though I'm anticipating that, I'm not willing to short it because I would expect a bounce from here. So unless we get a bounce, then that would collapse down. I don't want to get caught on the wrong side of a trade, and I don't really have the time to do it today. So I'm just going to wait for those buybacks or opportunities to go long. But things are looking so bad on the traditional markets right now that actually, it's a very scary time to trade. The best thing for me to say is the safest way to play this is just to sit back and wait and watch, because if it does collapse and does crash, there will be buying opportunities there, and I'd be more interested in buying low prices than trying to short at these medium prices, or even go long. And finally, SXP. So we're stuck in this area still of resistance. This is our resistance box, and we couldn't break out of it yesterday. We've not come close to the top of it today. We got supported from it these last few days, and it transpires to all the way back here where we found ourselves playing within this range. So we're back within the range again. Breaking down below here could actually be quite nasty. We could end up seeing an SXP around about $1 or so. Maybe not so much $1, but $1.20. I don't see a problem with that. That's where this last week would have been, and I think that this is where a lot of people will have their eyes on. So $1.26 would be an area of interest, and maybe a decent bounce from there. But it depends on the size of this drop. If the drop is as bad as I think it's going to be, the drop could take all of these cryptos really far down. I don't want to scare anybody, obviously, because I'm theorizing what's going to happen, or really what we should be doing is thinking about it step by step. So the next step for Bitcoin is only going to be a $500 drop. A $500 drop from here, from where we are right now, that's not a great deal of percent-wise. We're talking about 5% or so, and that's where we'll be hitting. So 5% with Bitcoin could be 10% with altcoins. It depends on the altcoin. It depends on the state of the chart itself. But if we did get that $500 drop, that 5% drop on Bitcoin, because there's nothing beneath us on something like XRP of any tangible support, that's why I would expect maybe as far as a 16% drop for XRP, because we don't have those supports in place. Anyway, back to SXP, and yeah, if we can't break out of this trading range, and if we do break down from it, it will be nasty for us to break down from it, because essentially we're not rediscovering new lows. This has come up. This is only the Binance chart. This coin existed at much lower lows before this, and so don't be fooled to think that we can't go down further than this. We certainly could do. We definitely could do. But for the moment, this is the support area here, the last stand of support before we see something along the lines of $1 for SXP. But again, I'm trying to break it down mostly on the fact that we have to think about it in terms of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has got supports all the way down. So Bitcoin's next drop would be as much as a 5% drop, and that could mean a 10 to 15 to 20 or even more for some of these altcoins, because they've fallen down so far already. Their supports are already gone. There's nothing beneath them to catch them, so they will literally fall massively. So the buying opportunities for those will be greater, because they will have fallen dramatically. But then you have to stand back and think, well, could they fall even further? Because if Bitcoin only went down 5% and is now at that range, what happens if Bitcoin continues with that fall? it's all about buying back and taking profits, I think, at this level, and that's what I'll be looking to do on spot. I'm not looking to buy and hold and hodl. I'll be looking to buy back and take profits almost, after a few hours or a day or so, because as much as I'd like this to reverse, the charts don't look like they want to reverse, and neither does traditional markets. As we speak at the moment, these aren't looking good, and we've got just half an hour before these open. So you can watch the show and send me comments about if I was wrong or not. This doesn't have to happen today, by the way. This can happen any point this week or next couple of weeks. It doesn't have to happen today. But the fact that we're having this massive correction in the market at the moment doesn't look good for anything. And actually, the charts, even though they're holding up at the moment, they're on very thin ice, and they could break down if these start getting downtrends. And in all fairness, this it does look like it wants to maybe even start to downtrend. We're at the bottom area of we're just looking at the Nasdaq here. We're at the bottom area of the Bollinger Band. We might get stuck beneath here. We've already got a curvature down on there, and in the center, which is the 21-day moving average. So that means that if a downtrend continues from here, we'll be bouncing down, and actually will trickle down, and that could cause an actual collapse. Anyway, I hope that is of some value to you. I'd like you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave me a comment, like, and all this sort of stuff, because it helps my videos get more popular, which is obviously that's what I want. So I hope you have a nice day anyway. Trade safe and take it easy. Thanks for watching.